Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about proof of time half marathon training, week 2.
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury prone Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
So I did allude last week a little bit of what happened at the beginning of week 2. And for just conversation's sake, so that people have like a timeline, week 2 started May 11th. So May 10th was Mother's Day. That's a Sunday, and that ended week 1. I start my weeks on Monday. That's just the way it goes. Maybe you start yours on Sunday. That's okay. That's fine. No problem. But if you listen to the previous week 1 episode, I talked about how on Sunday it was just not a good day for me. I woke up in the morning and I had low blood pressure, and I just could not bring it up until like the end of the day. And I had bouts where it was as low as like 83 over 58. I'm not looking at my numbers, but I think that was my lowest. I woke up with it 90 over, I don't know, 50 something, 58, 59, but symptomatic. So historically, I go in these bouts of low blood pressure, and it stems all the way back to when I was a teenager. Like, I can remember as a teenager in my parents' house. They still live in the house that I grew up in, and they used to have a couch along a wall, and that wall had a doorway, and that doorway went into the kitchen. And so the edge of the couch lined up right with that doorway, and at on the other side of the doorway was the refrigerator in the kitchen. And so I could be sitting in that corner of that couch, get up, walk the 4 steps that it took to get me to, like, turn around and be in that doorway at the fridge, and everything would have gone black. Like, I literally like a curtain went over my eyes, and I knew it was weird, but didn't really think anything of it. And it wasn't until I was in physical therapy school and we were learning about orthostatic hypotension and hypovolemic states and a couple other things cardiovascular pulmonary wise. And I was like, huh, so there might be a reason for what happens to me. And I've seen doctors about it. I've talked to my primary care about it. I've one of my primary care a couple of years ago was board certified cardiologist and internal medicine. Talked to him about it. He's supposedly the POTS expert here in town, so he deals a lot with fainting and tachycardia and things like that. And I don't really have tachycardia. It's my blood pressure plummets. But nobody will work me up further than that. And as much as I advocate for myself to get it done, there does come a point sometimes where you're just like, nobody's listening to me. Nobody is doing the test, or insurance is denying the test because there's not enough evidence to say that I need it, and yada, yada, yada. And then other stuff always comes up. So I have learned that I can keep myself feeling really well and not in these states by drinking a lot of fluids and a lot of electrolytes. So one thing that cardiologist had told me was I should not be drinking plain water. The only time I should drink plain water is first thing in the morning. I should drink 20 ounces of water before I even get out of bed. And then the rest of the day, it should be electrolytes. And so I do like the taste of water. So I do drink plain water sometimes, but I have bought salt capsules. So I will drink the plain water, but I will I will take the salt capsule. And I also know that having more electrolytes and sodium, like I should I am not a low sodium kind of person. I need all of the sodium. Like, don't buy low sodium salt in my house. Don't buy low sodium salt. No, low sodium soup in my house. I will get the Chinese food and all of that stuff because it typically has lots of sodium. And, McDonald's cheeseburgers, sodium, I do it all, and they're all delicious. And so I go in these bouts, and before I figured out how much I really need to drink, If I had a low blood pressure day that caused me to feel symptomatic and feel like I was going to faint. Now, the good news is most of the time I can catch myself, and it's usually when I've stood up too fast or when I've been bent down and had to stand up, like crouched down. I shouldn't say bent down, it's crouched down with both knees bent. I have done extensive research on this for myself of the different positions I can be in. And anyway, um, so I can usually catch myself and be like, "Oh, nope, that was too fast," and then just immediately sit down again and wait for it to pass. And so I can do that, and I also can drink lots of fluids and take in the sodium, take in the electrolytes. Now, please remember, I'm not saying any of this that if you have those symptoms, you should do those things. No, go get checked out by a healthcare provider and maybe do as I say, not as I do, but maybe advocate for yourself better than maybe I have for myself. I don't know. I've called all the places. We're moving on. So, anyway, it used to be when I had these instances, it would last me like a week. Like if it happened on a Sunday, it would last me till Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Now I have gotten it down where a lot of the time I actually feel back to normal the next day. This week, I did not feel back to normal until about Wednesday. And that's even questionable if I was back to normal by Wednesday. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But I normally would do speed workout on Monday and rest day on Tuesday. Or, excuse me, cross training on Tuesday. I took both of those days as extra rest days. It I was just still feeling off. I took my blood pressure a couple more times and it was like 112, 115 over like 65, which is my normal. And so, like, blood pressure was back to normal, but the rest of my system, the rest of my cardiovascular system was probably still playing catch up. And I won't know for sure because I didn't do blood levels. So I didn't check my electrolytes in my blood when it was happening, after it was happening, and everything like that. So I won't know for sure, but that's my guess. And so then Tuesday, I I had a headache that day. I woke up with it, likely due to stress from my husband's health care. He had had a treatment the night before, and we were still finishing at like 11 o'clock at night. And then we have a cleaning lady come, and it was a new person on Tuesday, so had to get up and be ready for her. Now, of course, whether it was new or continuing, I would have had to be up anyway, but it was like an added level of stress. We had a cleaning crew before, and they actually have broken a couple of things and damaged to our property. So I'm a little hesitant to try somebody new, but at the same time, I need to try somebody new. And at the same time, I don't have the energy to go around and clean my whole house and work full time and take care of Levi and take care of Royal because there's, he can't help me with this kind of stuff. And so it's like, what what can I relinquish control on? And so that is one of them. And so she was there from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and I work out in the morning. That would have been prime time workout time for me, but I wanted to make sure I was available for her to show her where everything is. She had questions about how we like things. And like, this is a very, very first world problem, but it was a factor. And I keep it real here. Life gets lifey for whatever reason. This was a reason. So anyway, Monday and Tuesday were rest days. Then Wednesday was a speed workout, hills in particular. And so I I felt like I was back to normal this day and I went out early. And because it's getting hot here, it got to 101 at some point during that week. But the night before, there were multiple factors in why my hill workout, I think, felt hard. It also may have just been one of those days, right? If you've heard me talk about the rule of thirds or like the 30, 30, 30, even though technically it should be like 33, 33, 33, but I think that's a mouthful to say. So we talk about it in 30, 30, 30. But like 30% of the time, your workouts are not going to feel good. They're going to feel pretty crummy. 30% of the time, your workouts are going to be pretty neutral, like not too bad, not too great, like nothing to write home about. It's like the Goldilocks. It's just right. And then 30% of the time, your workouts are going to be incredible. They are going to feel so good. And that's how it should work. And if you have too many workouts or every workout where it doesn't feel good, where it's the really, really crummy ones, well, that's not good and something needs to change. If all of your workouts are pretty neutral, well, maybe you aren't pushing yourself hard enough and that needs to change. And if all of your workouts feel incredible, absolutely amazing, well, then maybe something needs to change because maybe you aren't challenging yourself enough in the right way, right? So this one was really crummy. And it could have just been I was due for a crummy workout. It also could have been due to the fact that I had had the low blood pressure for a couple of days, and maybe I actually still wasn't back to normal with my electrolytes, like internally, even though I was taking in lots of electrolytes. Maybe it was the fact that Levi woke up at 3 a.m. ready to take on the day. He was on it. And so Royal, Levi, and I went for a walk at like 4 a.m. and we walked for a mile because he got up. We thought he had to go to the bathroom. We let him out in the backyard. He just stood there, wasn't doing anything for Royal. Then I let him out because sometimes if Royal lets him out, Levi's just like, oh no, this is dad and my time. Like we're just hanging out. So I let him out. He didn't do anything. Then we just tried to go back to sleep because Levi sometimes plays this game where he's like, haha, I'm just going to wake up, but I'm going to do what I want. Sometimes he does it because he just wants to steal our spot in bed. He's 12 years old. He has a mind of his own. We love him for it. We have definitely enabled it. It is what it is. I made my own bed and now I need to lay in it. But anyway, he wasn't going to sleep and he just was like laying there staring at me and laying like kind of perched up where he's like ready. If you're going to move, he's going to like jump off the bed and be ready to go. So we hadn't walked him. I hadn't walked him at all the week before because he had hurt his leg. And so we were letting him just like cool his jets on walking too much. We didn't want to cause any more problems. So he had all of this pent up energy. So we walked for a mile at 4 a.m. And then I got out the door by like 5:30, which is way earlier than I usually do. Like I'm usually walking Levi around 7:30. So I'm usually getting back and getting ready to go for my workout, whether it's outside or on the treadmill at like 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock. So I'm like 3 to 4 hours early on this. I had breakfast, applesauce pouch, a Coke, but overall feeling sluggish. And then the actual workout, I went outside. So this was my first outdoor hill workout since we moved into this house. I've done a couple on the treadmill and I found a good hill that I liked. It's long and the incline is pretty good. I don't know what actual incline it is, but man, it was tough. When I was actually doing the sprints, and so for hill workouts, it's sprint 30 seconds up the hill and then recover for 2 minutes. So walk down the hill. And then if you make it down the hill before the 2 minutes is up, just hang out until the 2 minutes is over. Recover with your heart rate and your breathing, and then do it all over again 10 times. So I'm sprinting up this hill and my legs just feel like they won't go. At first I thought like, oh, okay, in the beginning, I'm just not as warmed up. Now I did do a warm up and I even added a 5-minute easy run at the beginning to like get myself going. So I really had like a 15-minute warm up. Maybe that wasn't even enough. Maybe this was a day that I needed more. But I'm doing the sprints and I'm like, this just is not going well. I'm not like, it feels harder. I guess I just, you know how sometimes you feel like your first 2 miles of a run, like you can't trust them because it just feels so hard for no apparent reason. That's how this felt. Then the middle couple, like the middle two sprints were like, oh, this is really good. And then the last couple felt like my legs could barely move again. So the beginning, they could barely move. The middle, they felt okay. And the end, they felt like they could barely move. I was like, what the heck is going on? And overall, it like felt fine. The workout itself felt fine. I get back home and I'm getting ready with like refreshing my water. I'm getting ready to go stretch. I'm getting something to eat. And I had to lay down on the floor because I suddenly got nauseous. I suddenly got really shaky and I just didn't feel good. And I just laid on the floor. And Levi came over and laid with me. If you saw my Instagram that day, it's me sitting on the floor in my kitchen. Levi's right there. He's like, oh, mom's at my level. Guess we're hanging out here. And so we were trying to get some Gatorade in me. I grabbed some Fig Newtons. I'm like having some sugar, wondering, should I have a Coke again? And then Royal was like, oh, when Pepper, his childhood dog, his childhood Dalmatian, she had diabetes. And when she first got diagnosed, the vet told him and his sister to give her maple syrup. And so he was like, why don't you just drink some maple syrup? So he hands me the bottle of the pure maple syrup, and I just poured it onto a spoon and drank it. And I did a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It worked great. I did 3 spoonfuls, so it was like 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And I had some more Gatorade, and I felt pretty good. I had to walk Levi another mile because he still had energy. Took a shower. I went and took a nap just to kind of like reset. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just get in like it's just one of those days where it's like, let's just start this over. So I went and took a nap. And luckily, like Wednesday was a light day for me. And I did have some coaching calls in the afternoon, but I started so early on my day that I went and took my nap at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had plenty of time to spare. I didn't strength train because I just was still feeling off even after having the sugar. So that workout was not great. Let's move to Thursday, which typically would be a rest day, but I moved my cross training to this day because I missed it on Tuesday. And so this was walking on the treadmill, and I used my computer at the same time. I have a new desk to go over my treadmill, and I wanted to try it out. It's not great. It's fine. Got the job done. I got to do some stuff that I wanted to do, but felt like I also should be doing some kind of workout. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way where it's like, I know I should work out, but I would much rather be doing anything else, watching a movie. I have work that needs to get done or some cleaning that needs to get done. Like I talked about last week about how I had a client who did cleaning instead. You absolutely can do that. And so I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. I had stuff I wanted to do on my website, on my computer. So I walked and did the work on my treadmill for the 45 minutes. And it was great. Then I did some 1 rep max strength testing. It felt good. And I even surprised myself with some of the weights, like for biceps curls, heel raises on the leg press, those 2 in particular. And then it's interesting because I did it testing on my new weight machine because I really want to be using that and I want to make sure that I am using enough weight. So that's where a 1 rep max strength test comes in. And if you've heard me talk about strength training, I don't recommend any specific exercise. Any strength exercises that you do are the best for you if you're going to do it. I do recommend you hit all major muscle groups, but if you don't like squats and lunges, don't do squats and lunges. I could rattle off probably 1,000, I'm not kidding, other exercises to do to work quads, glutes, and hamstrings that are not squats and lunges. And so if there's an exercise you don't like to do, or it bothers your knees or bothers your hips or something like that, like there's something else to do. And I really like using machines. Like at the gym, I really liked using machines. I don't like how busy gyms are. So I bought my own fitness equipment for home and I've been using it. It's pretty good. But with this 1 rep max test, one of the problems with using machines is that For some of the exercises, I could do 2 repetitions, but for the next weight up, I couldn't do any at all. Like, I couldn't even make the weight plates move. So it's a little frustrating that I can't make it a true 1 rep max test because it's in the name. When you do that test, it's 1 rep maximum. Like, that's all you can do. And so if I can do 2 reps, it technically is too light, but my next level up, I couldn't move at all. So I have to take that with that's the maximum. And so that's still where my maximum is set. And I will use that for my light, medium, and heavy days, making that kind of workout. After you do a 1 rep max test, you make a light workout schedule where you do 25% of your 1 rep max for like 10 to 15 reps. And then a medium day is 50% or so, roughly, maybe it's 60% of your 1 rep max, but you do like 8 to 10 reps. And then a heavy day is like 80%, maybe even more of your 1 rep max, and you do like 5 repetitions. And then you do however many sets you can in the time frame that you have. The heavier the weight, the fewer repetitions, and the longer the rest break you need. So that's how I structure strength workouts, but it all stems from that 1 rep max test. And so I have a new set of equipment, so I'm going to be doing new exercises. So I needed to do the 1 rep max test. And so it's not perfect to do it with the weight plates because I can't go up just a little bit. Or at least I haven't figured out how. Maybe I should look on the website and see if they have any extras where you just add a little bit more to the stack. But overall, it's good enough. And for heavy days, the heavy workout days, I'll just remember that I'll not necessarily be doing 80%, but maybe I just drop 1 weight plate from my 1 rep max test. And the test itself took almost 90 minutes because that's just how long it takes with how long you have to rest after trying it and everything like that. Because this is one thing that I see a lot of runners make a mistake on. They do the 1 rep max test, or they do like they're trying and seeing how much weight they can do, but they don't take enough rest in between each trial. And so their muscles haven't replenished the ATP that it uses for energy. And so like even if I tested and tried to move the weight plate, let's say for leg press, but it was so heavy and I couldn't move it, a mistake I've seen runners make is immediately drop the weight and immediately try and push it again. But you can't do that because you still used energy to attempt to move that weight plate. Even though you didn't actually do any movement or any exercise, it then became an isometric exercise, meaning you didn't go through a range of motion, but you still used that muscle. And so your energy levels in your muscle are depleted. And so I see runners not get a true 1 rep max test because they haven't let the energy replenish before they go and try it again. So I had to, even if I couldn't move the weight plate, I had to wait the 3 to 5 minutes before I tried again, because that's how long you should be waiting for your absolute max testing. It's a long time. So 90 minutes, I don't even know how many exercises I got done, but I had to wait like 3 to 5 minutes in between trials. Now, luckily, I am pretty good at guesstimating how much weight I need. So I only needed to try, for some of them, I got it like nail on the head the first time. For others, I had to do maybe 2 or 3 tests, but that's not too bad. But if I do 3 tests, that's like 9 minutes of rest. But it's not very long during the actual test because as soon as I hit 2 repetitions, I stop. There's no point in trying to go, oh, well, could I do 5? Could I do 8? No, that's not the point. That's not the purpose. Remember, everything has a purpose. The purpose of the strength test is see how much weight I can lift for 1 repetition. If I can already do 2, move on. I have to move on. So it does take time and I only got a few done. So for like dumbbell exercises, I need to do that on another day. Okay, so next day is Friday. Fridays are my long run days. And so warm up 10 minutes, then run walk. It was 4.4 miles, finish with a cool down, and then, stretch. And I needed to take 73 grams of carbs, which meant it was supposed to take me an hour, 13 minutes. Today, that run, I'm saying today because I'm literally reading my notes. I'm actually doing really good at keeping my notes. And that's how I'm able to do this podcast episode because there's no way I would have remembered all of this. So if you ever want to look back and remember how something went, you have to take notes as soon as the workout is done. But the run felt really good. I slowed down compared to last week, but I didn't hit my total mileage. And that was because I was going off of time run, not distance run for my run walk intervals. And I hit it last week, because I was going fast enough. But remember last week, it felt too fast for me and it didn't feel good. But there also may have been other factors that I mentioned in last week's episode. So maybe that is, I don't know. So anyway, I slowed down this time and the run felt great, but I missed about half a mile total on my run. Now, is that the end of the world? No, because I was out there for the length of time that I wanted to. So do I want to hit that mileage and be out there for the length of time I'm supposed to? Yes. But when thinking about the long, easy run, it's better to go easy, slower, and still be out there for that full length of time and just not go the same mileage. So that's fine because we're building time on our feet on the long run. So it's not the end of the world, but I did come home and I did the math to see during each running segment how far I should have gone. So then I can keep note because my watch will tell me like how far I ran during that segment. And so it was telling me I ran 0.23, but the math tells me I should have been running 0.275, so 0.28 and walking about 309 feet. Now the walking I was hitting, most of the time I was hitting 309-ish feet. So that was good. It was my running that was too slow. So this upcoming week, what I'm going to do is I am going to change my run walk intervals. There's still going to be the equivalent. Actually, no, now that I'm saying this out loud, it might not be the equivalent because if I slow down, then I'm not running the 3 minutes, 1 minute. So how am I going to do this? Because what I was going to say was I was going to set it so that I would do a distance of 0.275 or 0.28. I think I can only go out 2 decimal places in my watch. And I was going to say that I was going to put it as 0.28 for running and then the 309 feet for walking, whatever that is in decimals for mileage. But I want I really want to hit both. So I think I need to keep it at the running for time and just be okay not hitting that mileage. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'm recycling miles. And remember, it's about building time on your feet. Sometimes I actually go back and forth thinking to myself for runners who really are harping too much on the mileage they've done because they end up going so much slower than they're used to. And so they end up running fewer miles sometimes because they're doing a really good job trying really hard to run slower. And they have a scenario like I did where they don't run as far and it really frustrates them. So sometimes I go back and forth in my mind of, okay, well, how can we combat that? Well, let's just go for time. So you go out for an hour, 13 minutes, and maybe I'll just try that for a little while longer. And I'll just notice how many miles I've gone in each segment. And this would be like quarter miles that I've gone in each segment. I'm going to play around with this. I will try it a couple more times this way. And so overall, like it felt easy. It was really enjoyable, a little too short. We'll see what happens. But I definitely slowed down my running compared to last week. And last week's run felt a lot harder. So it's interesting. Like last week, I hit my easy paces according to my watch, but that felt harder than when I did it on the treadmill. And then this time with the shorter walking intervals, the 1 minute, I was forgetting to fuel. And then by the time I remembered I didn't have enough time to fuel before my next running segment happened. So I started like shoveling some extra Nerds gummy clusters in my mouth when I was remembering it. And I started to run before I was completely finished walking. So I'll figure that out. I did bring more fuel than I needed, and I had a bowl of oatmeal with 2 tablespoons of maple syrup in it for breakfast, plus a Coke with water before heading out. Levi didn't want to walk today, and because Royal had some employees over, and Levi knew, so he like pooped right away, and he pooped in the middle of the street, which is not that uncommon. There's so much construction going on right now. My neighborhood is not complete, so we don't even have all paved roads in my neighborhood. So Levi just poops in the middle of the street. And then he turned around to go see some of his favorite employees. And he was like, yep, I'm done. But going back to this Coke that I had before heading out for my run, and I had a Coke with water, I was listening to Stephanie Nadchek's podcast, Fuel, Run, Recover, or Run, Fuel, Shoot. I should have looked it up. Anyway, she's the runner's dietitian on Instagram. And she's been on the podcast before, and she had an episode recently that was talking about osmolality, meaning how our body takes in the fluid, and based on like different, I don't completely understand all of it, but there are comparisons of like how quickly and how many carbs your body absorbs different fuels with. And so like Gatorade has, I don't know if it's a high or a low osmolality, but it's good. So you end up absorbing like all of the carbs. Whereas a Coke or gels doesn't have a good osmolality, whether it's high or low, I don't remember. And so that's why you need to take in water when you're taking in, I knew this for gel and goo, but that's why you need to drink water when you're taking in a gel or a goo. And you need to do the same thing with Coke. And I thought that was fascinating. And unfortunately, I didn't listen to that episode before my hill workout, but I did listen to it afterwards. So I'm going to be doing that from now on. I'm going to be drinking a bunch of water with my Coke or right before my Coke so that my Coke, I'll absorb more carbs. So go listen to that episode. I'll see if I can link it in the show notes. That it was very fascinating. And I'm a huge nerd, so I'm probably going to read up on it to understand it more. But overall, that workout felt great. And then Saturday cross training, I really didn't feel like doing it. And I think it was because this was day 4 in a row of workouts. And I usually don't do that. And I usually don't like that. And there's a reason I typically schedule only three workouts max in a row, because by day 4, I'm done with it. It was cross training. So I thought, well, it's just paced walking. I could do that. Or I could walk slower and put it on an incline, and I could do incline walking. That's actually what it was anyway. So 7% incline. I just chose one that felt comfortable, and I made the pace really slow for me. It was perfect. I was able to do some work on my website again. And I had a Coke Zero to gear me up for some strength testing for the non-machine exercises, which I really didn't feel like doing, more of a lazy day. But I told myself, like, if I could do 40 minutes of it, like between the exercises and the rest, that would be good enough. And I did. And I think I actually did more than that. But overall, since I knew I could rest on Sunday, and it wasn't like nothing hurt, nothing was sore. It was just very much, it was one of those days where I just wanted to curl up in bed. But I think 3 days in a row of workouts is what's going to work for me. So I do think I need to change my skeleton of a schedule to make it so Tuesdays I don't work out. It's a rest day, because with the cleaning lady coming on Tuesday instead of the old Thursday, which Thursday right now is a rest day for me, I think I'm just going to change it so Tuesday, Thursday are rest days, and I work out Sunday. Oh no, that will be 4 workouts again, I believe. I have to look at this. I have to look at it, because 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that will be 4 workouts in a row again, because it'll be Friday long run, Saturday cross training, Sunday cross training, and Monday speed. So I might need to make it so that Thursday is a workout day, Sunday is a rest day. So then I do No, that's still 4 workouts in a row. Maybe Saturday needs to be a rest day. I think Saturday needs to be a rest day. Let's do this. Yeah, because then 1, 2, 3 in a row, then a rest day Saturday, workout Sunday, workout Monday, rest day. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And so I'll just change around the skeleton of my workouts, and that's fine. Make it work for my schedule, make it work so that I do the workouts and just go from there. But overall, the week was pretty good. I didn't do as good of a job doing strength workouts, but I definitely did 2 workouts that week. So 50%, not too shabby. And 2 strength workouts is the bare minimum. Actually, it's not the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum if you want to work on speed and strength. Bare minimum to just cross the finish line. You don't need strength. It is a nice to have. And so I'm aiming to do 4 because I am splitting it up between upper and lower body workouts. So hitting 2, especially when they're being 1 rep max, was pretty good. Okay, that's all I have for this week. At the time of recording, at the time when this will drop, the wait list for Stronger Faster Finisher will be closed. That closed May 25th. It will open up again in a week or 2 for the next round. So if you're interested, if having somebody guide you through workouts like this, how I've designed them, if that's interesting to you, that's what I do for you in Stronger Faster Finisher. Go ahead and join the wait list. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your Run Disney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger Faster Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.